Hello and blessings, beautiful souls. Sarava and I share to you. Just a very, very quick one. This is just a very quick live to let you know that what's going on at the moment. I think I'm coming down with a cold, like a sniffly cold. I've just been out for a little walk at the moment and talking about spirit stuff with my sister. And anyway, this morning started with our book study circle. So I've been receiving a lot of comments and questions and things like that in relation to my book club. And so I wanted to explain that my book club is accessed through Patreon. It costs $3 a month, and there are 3 different approaches to the bookmark. At the moment, we tend to go with Sabbath cycle. So right now we're working with the Samhain Beltane Sabbath cycle, and so you choose an archetypal witch, and then there are a whole bunch of prompts associated with your witch, and there's all other fun little things associated to that. Then we have a buddy read, a fictional buddy read, and this month it is The Bear and the Nightingale, which is kind of a Russian-inspired witchy story. It's literary fiction if you're interested in that. It's available on audiobook, paperback, hard copy, all that kind of good fun stuff. So there's that as well. And then there's also a book study circle, and we are studying this one right here, which is Sticks, Stones, Roots and Bones by Stephanie Rose Bird. And we did our first study circle today, and the idea here is to learn, to sit and discuss and engage, and ultimately to learn. And so we had a ton of fun on today's live. The lives are private. They happen every 2 weeks. And there is a private Discord channel with it as well. And we're just there. We're building up our knowledge base. We're learning. We're doing this together. Everybody is involved. Everyone supports one another. And we just have a really great time learning and critically thinking and discussing. So that's the book study circle at the moment. Hi, Emerald Moon. Hi, Moon Journey. How you going? And so there's a lot of reading going on, especially because of the Sabbath rotation stuff. So the Sabbath rotation is a complicated thing to try and explain as far as books go. But basically, you choose an archetypal witch. Your archetypal witch has all of these prompts associated, and the prompts are revealed, obviously, once you choose your witch. That's how I designed it this time. And then there are little challenges that you do in association with whatever which you choose. You get to pick the books in association with the prompts. So it's very much a fun, exciting thing. So we've got at least 6 books that people are reading, or if you can find a book that covers 1 or 2 or 3 or more prompts, that's totally fine as well. Your reading schedule is a lot less, and that's great. So we've got the Sabbath cycle, choose your witch reading prompts happening, which is like, whew, I haven't even chosen my witch. Some people have chosen their witch, given them their names, and art is appearing, and it's all very exciting. But I haven't even chosen my witch yet, so I'm well behind on that one. And so the buddy read is happening as well. So I'm looking at getting into The Bear and the Nightingale. I've been in a bit of a reading slump, but this morning's book study circle really sort of kicked things into gear for me, because we went through the introduction of the book and the reason why it is called Sticks, Stones, Roots and Bones, and the meaning behind sticks, stones, roots and bones. It was very well detailed, beautifully explained, and quite thought-provoking, I might say. And then we went into chapter 2, which was chapter 1, which was all of the materials that are typically used in the practice of hoodoo, root work, conjure, that type of thing. And so all of those items explained, all of the equipment, if you will, like an equipment list, and the whys and the hows of that equipment list. Then there is information there about specific recipes and what have you, and that's more in chapter 2. So far, chapter 1 and 2 and the introduction lends itself to a very well-written informational structure in a book. It looks like the author has done everything in her power to avoid the expert blind spot, and has been quite detailed and very open about the the processes that she's trying to describe. She gives a really great accurate history point of view, which if you are inclined to cross-reference, you absolutely can. And she gives you the points of origins, the roots of certain practices, and as far back as like Egypt, basically, and West Africa, and everything is beautifully explained, respectfully explained. She goes into a lot of effort to encourage recycling and repurposing, especially when it comes to specific items like spell jars, and goes through the preparation of a second hand, if you will, a recycled like pasta jar, or a glass jar that you've used in your kitchen that basically you can then use in your magics as well. She also goes a little bit into respect for nature and endangered uh, botanicals lists and things like that. And she brings light to the fact that many of the not many, but there are a few of the products, a few botanicals that we as witches tend to reach for or heard mentioned of time and time again, and that they can actually be endangered. And so there was light shone on that aspect. So there was a very thoughtful introduction and first chapter, especially. And then the second chapter starts to put everything into action. You learn a certain language in the first chapter. In the intro and first chapter, you learn language and equipment. The author is Stephanie Rosebird, and the book is Sticks, Stones, Roots, and Bones. It is hoodoo, mojo, and conjuring with herbs. So very sort of green folk magical practices, if you will. Green witchcraft, hedge witchery. If you are fond of any of those types of practices, you might get quite a bit out of this. And already we've had some really fascinating conversation come up. Especially around lodestones. There was a really interesting question asked amongst the book club today regarding the female male aspects of the lodestone, the positive and the negative aspects of the lodestone, the fact that there were multicolored lodestones, and so on and so forth. And just a lot of really interesting connections being made with members and practices that they perhaps had as part of their childhood, maybe something that they did when they were a child that has specific magical relevance, memories cropped up about certain, practices. And it was very, very, very fun to engage in a book study circle. And the idea for this came from that desire to not just buddy read a book, but actually sit down and get something out of what it is that you're reading. Because I don't know about you, but I really like to learn. I'm always looking at learning something. I'm always looking up how-tos. I'm always wanting to find out more about the types of practices that I like to do, where something comes from. I mean, my birthday vlog, I was talking about how my interest in Florida water was re-peaked. And so I was once again sort of, relearning the history of it. And, I just really like to know the hows, the whys, the origins, I like the authentic stories, and I just like to educate myself. I'm a self-educated sort of a person. That's how I would put it. And, with that said, I just wanted to explain this because a lot of people have been sending me private emails and, messages on Facebook and things like that. The book club is robust. If you don't want to participate in the book study circle, you don't have to. If you're just there for the Sabbath reading stuff, the witch reading stuff and participating in that whole Sabbath wheel reading, then you can do just that. Or if you want to do the buddy read, the literary fiction buddy read, as it turns out. We read the Diviners last month. I think it was last month. We did read the Diviners, book 1 in the Diviners series, and we have been churning through, and we have our private Discord for book study circle. We also have our buddy read private Discord as well. And, I had a readathon very, very recently, and we were all smashing through books, and prizes were won and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a really active space. And I know so many of us are cooped up inside the house at the moment. And so I created more within the space of the book club because it's my lowest price tier. It's $3 for the whole month. And, you know, it gives you access to Discord, to 2 or 3 Discord channels, and to the private Facebook group, to private live streams, and, you know, that type of content, plus interaction in community and all that kind of stuff, which is really, really fun. And today's life was just proof of that. And yeah, it was really, really super fun. And I just wanted to, you know, sort of explain it a little bit more because it was something that keeps coming up in my inbox, and I thought I better address it in a video, but I don't have the time at the moment because I'm to pre-film a video, as I am filming for Tarot Summer School. So I'm going to go a little quiet as I film for Tarot Summer School, and I've also got client readings that I need to do. So I thought that I'd just do a quick spontaneous live and talk to you very quickly about what's going on in book club. And a lot of people don't understand what Patreon is, and they don't understand the structure of it, and I could totally understand that. But I'll break this down for you really quickly. The higher up in tiers you go, at least this is how it's arranged in my particular Patreon, the higher up you go, the more access you get. So in my Patreon structure, the top tier is the Coven, and underneath that is Card Slinger, Book Club, and then everything else. And so when you are in the Coven, you have access to absolutely everything as far as content that is created, plus your own specialized content. And typically that's pretty robust there as well. And there's a huge catalog because I'm coming up to about 2 years on Patreon. So when you get access to a tier, you get to go back through the entire catalog. So there's a lot there. And it's pretty exciting. So as far as the book club goes, though, I wanted to sort of share a little bit more about the book club because it's a very busy book club. It's busy. It is fun and it's busy. And we had a hell of a time today. Like we are learning. That's the best thing. We're learning. And there's a lot that came up. And, you know, the book club and those who were present in today's meet, they asked some really interesting questions, some really thought-provoking questions that got everyone sort of marinating on this idea and putting in their perspectives and, you know, trying to understand something from a multitude of different perspectives, essentially. And there's some study notes to come away from. There's like a little homework kind of thing, but it's fun because it's witchcraft, so it's got to be fun. And there was just such great conversation that rolled out of today's session, and we do a little live reading. Each person contributes their ideas. They kind of critique, bring to light, point out anything that was of particular interest. And it was a really activating first meet. So we covered the introduction, first and second chapter. And then in 2 weeks' time, we are coming back with another live to do the third and the fourth chapter. And so that gives people plenty of time to read, to go over it, to take notes, to play around with any of the homework that was given. And when I say homework, I don't mean it like that. These are more happy tasks. So, for instance, in chapter 2, you have there's magic that you can do, powders and jars and, you know, nation sacks and things of that nature. They have all been outlined, and there are little recipes that you can follow, and you can create one of these incredible little works of hoodoo. And so the idea behind it is that since we're a cross-cultural book club, the items that are referenced in the book aren't necessarily available to every book club member because of their geographical location. So the homework became looking for alternative substitutions that were solid substitutions for ingredients that were not available in your biosphere, and then creating that very recipe from what you can and what you've been able to substitute, etc. So it really is practical, hands-on folk magic that became the homework, and that is definitely something that I am all for, because for me, hello, Angela. Because for me, it's not good enough to just read a book. I like to read it and then put it into practice in some way, shape, or form. So, yeah, all right. So with all of that said, I do believe that's all I had to get out for today. This has been about 15 minutes, so I'll leave it at that. But thanks for hanging out with me, and I just thought that I would clarify that. Thank you to all the questions, or for all the questions that I've received on a variety of different platforms. I hope this answered some of your questions, especially regarding the book club. If you're wanting to join book club, feel free. We are technically still at the start of the month, and we're in the middle of the month, but you know what I mean. There's still so much. There's still so much to do. So I will talk to you guys again soon. Look after yourselves, take care, be kind to each other, and hopefully I'll be back with some new videos again soon. Much love, many blessings. Bye.